Well, hello, we're here again to do another presentation on procedural criminal justice, and hope you're enjoying these PowerPoints and videos, and just trying to make this a little more meaningful for you as an online class. The important thing on Module 11 is the discussion of the Bill of Rights. They talk a lot about the learning objectives here, and you ought to look at those in your modules. Like I said in 10, police misconduct can also be a crime. Police can actually sink to the level of committing a felony in order to try to solve a felony. That's not supposed to be how we do things in this country, according to the Bill of Rights. That's the purpose of the Bill of Rights, is to protect us from excessive wrongdoing by our government officials. You know, there's many examples of this, of actual downright violations of the law. Probably the most important example I can think of that really resonates with me is Richard Nixon and the Watergate case. No question that he was involved in a broad conspiracy. There's even evidence out there today that their intention was to kill some people. One of them was John Anderson, who was a reporter, because John Anderson was relentless in pursuing Nixon and in saying that he was basically a crook, a criminal, and then Nixon gets on TV and says, "I'm not a crook or a criminal." But yet they've unearthed information that clearly shows that Nixon had staffers that were involved in a conspiracy to murder this John Anderson. His only crime was John Anderson didn't like Nixon and wrote about it in the newspaper. But you know, I mean, there's a very similar case that Lincoln committed in terms of a newspaper man from Huntington, Indiana, that didn't like Lincoln and wrote about it in the newspaper, and Lincoln slammed him in prison and threatened to have him hanged for treason. So fortunately the Supreme Court intervened and said, no, that's not appropriate. So you know, that's a large scale incident where top level people in the government commit crimes. Other kinds of cases that we know of course, Clinton was engaged in misbehavior, which is not a crime, with Monica Lewinsky, but then he lied about it, which is a form of perjury. And so for perjuring himself, he could have been charged with a crime. You know, there's other examples. We could go on and on. I don't want to just talk about presidents, but I try to give you a Republican example and a Democrat example. People will say things about current presidents all the time. Most of the time it's just a lot of it tongue wagging by people that just don't like the president. Another thing I want to say, though, is at the police level, there's a bunch of different things that can be happening. We can have situations like Rodney King. It would be good to research the Rodney King case and write on that. That's a case where a police officer committed wrongdoing. It was a group of police officers. There's a case out of New York where a newlywed man, I think he was at a bachelor party, had an odd name. He was actually killed in New York City by a bunch of police. And I think he was shot like 40 times, or I don't know, a large number of times. And you know, you can see cases like that every once in a while. And once in a while, police officers are actually charged with a crime for that. But it's very rare. So the final alternative available to a citizen who has been, his rights have been violated, is to bring a civil suit. And there's a couple of different ways that you can do that. Constitutional tort actions are under what's called the Bivens Actions. So this is a case. This is another case that you could look at. It would be Bivens. So look for a Bivens case or the Bivens case. And so if you look that up, you should be able to brief that, or at least summarize it in your forum and talk to us about it and explain what is a Bivens action. There's actually specific statutes on the books. We'll go into that more in the next module. These are all kind of interrelated. The next module, they talk about the 14th Amendment, the Due Process, and the Equal Protection Clauses. And under those, there actually a law was passed, 42 U.S.C. 1983. And this 42 U.S.C. 1983 is kind of a bridge between Module 11 and Module 12. So you can look at 42 U.S.C. 1983, but I will mention to you that we'll talk about it again in Module 12. So these are all interesting and good things that it's worthwhile to look at. So give that a peek, and then we'll get back together and talk about it again in replies in the forum. So thanks for watching. We'll be back with something else. Remember again, Rodney King case and also the Bivens case as far as a civil lawsuit. Thanks for watching. Be back with you soon.